you can be honest with me. Are you addicted to productivity? Are you constantly trying to fill up your to-do list, looking for more activities and projects to do at home and at work, where it has now gone to that point of addiction to productivity? Welcome to my Inspire series. My name is Sylvia Mordini, the founder of Life Inspired. So, whereas productivity is not a bad thing in and of itself, of course it's not, the problem has evolved in that constantly trying to be overproductive takes a toll on our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health. It's not our nature to constantly be in this go, go, go state. We're not just always supposed to be on. So, in our culture of do more and then do much more, it is taking a toll. Burnout is at an all-time high right now. And this addictive quality to not being able to just be, to be still, whether it's not being able to just stand in line at the grocery store or to sit quietly at the office waiting for a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, but to constantly be scrolling our smartphones and doing, taking in more information or constantly being active is not healthy for us. So what's the answer? Well, the Italians call it il bel fai niente, right? But the Dutch refer to it as Niksen, Niksen. And there is an art to doing nothing. It's not the same as laziness. It is actually doing nothing with purpose, to do nothing, to not be productive for a period of time and let your mind rest. Even Einstein is famous for staring out the window of his office for hours. And he said that that was necessary. In order to be more productive, he needed to put his brain, his mind in that state of beingness. And if it was good enough for Einstein, it's good enough for us, right? But scientists are finding this out too, that our brains need rest. It's how we are wired, right? This rest and digest, the relaxation response to balance out fight or flight, the stress response. And yet today we are finding it more and more difficult because of all the ways that we have to be busy, especially with the use of technology, that we can be constantly on the go until we fall asleep. And then we wake up, and the very first thing, and notice if this is you, that you grab is your smartphone. And then start looking at things and digesting more information, not being able to just stay off the phone and not make use of the downtime that we are often given, whether it's just waiting for that coffee and line at the cafe, or just waiting and enjoying our cup of coffee in the morning at home. But not having to be addicted to our to-do list in order to prove that we're not wasting time is becoming normalized. And that's not good for you, it's not good for me, it's not good for any of us, because the side effects to this hyper productivity, which can very much often be a trauma response, is going to have a long-term impact. If you think about our children and our children's children, there's this modeling of behavior, this mimicry that takes place. So whereas those of us that are Generation X, like myself, we didn't see this in our parents or grandparents. My goodness, they were all working very hard, but we also saw them at rest. Especially, they weren't filling in every single second with technology. And that did us good. We modeled that behavior. And so for those of us of a certain generation, you can actually see that we've learned how to be hyper productive and how to keep our brains spinning at 1,000 thoughts per hour, right? And the measurable number of thoughts per second is ridiculous, especially when we're bombarded with so much information coming at us all the time. So I wonder where you think this is coming from. Is it a lack of self-worth? Is it that you feel that you don't deserve to rest unless you've proven yourself productive enough, like you've achieved enough? Is it some sort of seeking approval from self or from other entities in your life? But what is it that is broken and it's not working any longer to allow ourselves the purposeful do nothing, this concept of the Dutch, the Niksen, right? And when we start to see how our health is impacted, our mental health and our physical health, maybe then we'll do something. But my hope is that if you're watching this video, this inspires you to put your productivity muscle at rest and allow yourself to book some time in your schedule within this next couple 3 days of nothing, of doing nothing, not even laying on the couch, sitting with your computer, also trying to read a book, watching a show, and with a pile of mail that you have to open. No, like literally doing nothing, not counting anything, not measuring anything, but the sheer purpose of doing nothing. And then let me know in comments if that causes you any anxiety, like, wow, like what would I do if I had the time to do nothing? And I'm not saying do nothing for 10 hours, but can you challenge yourself to do nothing for 15 minutes? To just be. And I think for me, this is where my meditation practice has been really useful as a teacher and a guiding force for 25 years or more, is I've used meditation as a means to learn beingness instead of doingness, where I can sit still and just be. And I may look like, if you watch me meditate, that I'm not doing anything, but good. I'm able just to be there and let the world and my thoughts and my energies just swirl around and move through me and move around me, but I just sit and grow still. You may be surprised to learn that this concept of Niksen, of doing nothing, is a really healthy stress relieving tactic, which is why also meditation is so healthy and serving you to de-stress, lower feelings of overwhelm and anxiety, and create some space between your thoughts so that they're not all jumbled up one on top of one another. And these 60,000 thoughts that we have each day have a cadence to them that feels more calm and relaxed. I even have a program, 21 days to calm what? To calm your mind. Because I believe that it's so important to learn how to do nothing. And so if this causes you anxiety, then journal about where this is coming from. And if your sense of identity has gotten all tied up to hyperproductivity, to an addiction to productivity? And could you possibly see that your worthiness, your deservedness, has nothing to do with the constant measuring of how productive you are and how much you've created today and produced today in this hustle culture that we're in right now? It is not sustainable to live like that in a healthy way. Even if it looks like those that are the boss babes out there that are just killing it in this like constant hustle are doing really great, give it a year. Check in with them in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and let's see how well they're doing. Because it is not the nature of our nature as human beings to be in that state. We're not robots, right? We're not just these technical devices that can just go, go, go and stay on all day. We need our downtime. And what's interesting is statistically, in athletics, for example, the more time to recuperate, the more downtime and rest time an athlete has, then correlates to higher levels of performance. Take more rest and then perform better, achieve more, yes, score more. So the metrics are really obvious. But those of us that are corporate warriors or that are parents or that are looking at all the productivity measures in all the other aspects of our lives, if we could just apply that science and say like, wow, the more I rest, the better I'll be in my career, the wiser I'll be in making choices at the company that I'm working for, the better parent I will be, the more patient, kind, loving, and supportive and mindful I will be if I allow myself time to do nothing, let alone the modeling of behavior for those that are watching you, whether they're your colleagues or your direct reports in your work or your children or your grandkids, right? But really think about how this could serve you as a stress fighting tactic. And if you can assign yourself this open time that the intention is to just be, and that you're not going to do anything. You're not going to try to measure how many steps you can get on your Fitbit during this nothing time. You're not going to try to read, 50 pages in this nothing time. You're not trying to read 5 articles, journal 20 pages. When we say like the purpose is doing nothing, put all that stuff down, turn it off, put it away, stop moving, just stop and be still. Stop and be still. Sit and be still. One of my favorite ongoing programs is my Sit and Reset meditation group that you're always welcome to join at any time. But in community, just having a few minutes every day, and literally it's 10 minutes to sit and reset, is a game changer. It builds a new muscle. It creates a new neural pathway for people that are addicted to productivity. And so I welcome you to sit and reset and learn to meditate with me. I welcome you to enjoy my 21 days to learn how to calm your mind so that you can just spend time in not the doingness, but the non-doing. And see if they make a difference in the quality of life. If you're more present, more mindful, if you are able to then decrease anxiety in your life and stress. So do report back and let me know how that works for you. And I understand that we're all very busy and there's a lot to get done. But if we're just constantly on this treadmill, it's hard to actually call that a life. If we're just going mindlessly, then we're just going through the motions and calling it a life. But the quality of that is pretty empty. And a test that I offer to you is, if you look back 3 days ago, what can you remember were the highlights of 3 days ago? What were the highlights of a week ago? What stands out to you from a month ago? And if it just feels like your life is just moving like this, and you can't even remember what you did or anything that stands out from 3 days ago, 7 days ago, a month ago, then that's an indicator of just being constantly in the state of busy, wearing it as a badge of honor, and addicted to productivity, because it's all a blur. If you slow down, you make some time for doing nothing, this Dutch concept of Niksen, try it, or el belfaniente. When you ask yourself that question again, what stands out? What do you remember from 3 days ago, 7 days, 30 days ago? You'll remember. You'll have something to remember. It will not be a blur. Because the way I like to think of it is, if we're going, it's like eating. We're going to get so full that there's no time to digest. And our bodies literally benefit from 12 hours each day as a cycle, a master cycle in Ayurveda, to digest. The body then can do its jobs. But if we're just constantly eating, it can't digest. And it's the same with mental energy. If you're constantly doing, thinking, then there's no time for mental digestion. And you can't remember. And that's one of those things that happens to our mental health. We can't remember life that's happening to us, let alone can't remember what we have to get done. And we're dumbing ourselves down and creating more anxiety and more stress. But if you try this and apply this to your life, the doing nothing, you're going to find that you remember that your brain works better, because you're giving your brain, let alone your body and your spirit and your soul, some time to digest all the information, the energetics, the emotions. Every part of you needs time to digest, not just your physical body and your stomach, but your entire being needs time to digest. And so I leave you with this. When you look back on this last 12 months, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, the highest, what sort of quality of life would you say you've had? How does that correlate to your happiness? Have you been a little bit happy, medium happy, really happy, blissed out? And if I ask you to rate your productivity, the quantity of what you got done this last 12 months, are you somehow more proud of like the quantity that you got done than the quality of your life? And if that's the case, what does that say about what's happening to you and the impact you have on those around you? I love this quote that when asked, what's the biggest mistake we make? The Buddha replied, the biggest mistake is that you think you have time. Time is our most valuable currency. It has a limited quantity. And if we just waste it in a blur, that's the greatest tragedy of all. So let's do something about it, shall we? Let's learn how to do nothing. You have permission to do nothing. Put your hands on your heart. Repeat after me. I have permission to do nothing. And just say it to yourself again. I have permission to do nothing. I have permission to do nothing. Gosh, that feels good, doesn't it? Well, from my heart to your heart to the heart of the universe, may this be a way that you show love to yourself, that you love your day, and you love your life. If this has inspired you, I would be so grateful for you to subscribe to my channel, share this video out, tell your friends, and I'm wishing you so much love. Peace out, everybody.